Hello, everybody. Welcome to Empathic Insights. Welcome to your safe space. My name is Belle, and today we're going to be looking at Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard. If you've been on any social media platform recently, you'll know who this is to an extent. More so, her daughter, Gypsy Rose, who was just released from prison 2 days ago for having served for basically plotting to kill her own mother. So I think it was murder in the second degree. So for those of you that are new, I'm glad that you're here. Welcome back to anybody that's not new. But I just wanted to mention a quick things before I start. So I'm obviously an empath. I can tune into people's feelings very well. So that would be the purpose. I just want to see, I'm fascinated by people's actions, how they were feeling to make those actions, especially ones that hurt others. So in this case, this would be the perfect example. So I'm going to do a little brief recap of what I know so that you know basically what I know. And really, I go into these readings with little to no information. I do that on purpose. But in case anybody is new and does not know who Claudine or Dee Dee is, I'll give some insight here in just a moment. So again, that's just the purpose, is really to try to understand this person, what this person was feeling, to do something like what she did. And so no hateration here, please. Nothing like that. Again, this is a safe space for everybody, and I just want to understand in a compassionate and empathetic way. I just want to understand her. So no bashing, no hatred. Leave all that, no judgment. Leave all that somewhere else. And yeah. And the second thing is, I usually, as you can see here, I usually print off pictures, black and white. So don't come for me for those pictures. But it really helps me tune into their energy. So that's why I have usually a picture, but for her, I actually have three. So yeah, if you're ready, let's get into it. Let me first start by telling you what I do know. If you are sensitive to this sort of topic, then I suggest you fast forward to the actual part where I'm channeling her energy, or just skip the video altogether, again, if you're sensitive. So Claudine Blanchard was born May 5th, 1967. That would make her a Taurus sun sign. She was found murdered, or was murdered, June 9th of 2015. And basically the gist of Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard was that ever since her daughter Gypsy Rose was very little, very small, she had convinced everyone, including her own daughter and including medical professionals, that there were things medically wrong with Gypsy Rose, her daughter. And some of those things included, I think one of the first ones it said was sleep apnea and a chromosomal disorder, muscular dystrophy. She said that Gypsy Rose had leukemia, bound to a wheelchair. At least she convinced others that that was what was happening. And so hearing impairments, vision impairment, so much so that she had doctors perform multiple surgeries on her eyes. She had her, what is it called? Salivary? No, wait, hold on. Her, uh, yeah, I think I got it right. Her salivary glands, she had them removed. And so her teeth also were starting to rot, or they did completely rot. So she had her teeth pulled. Many, 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 many things happened because of Dee Dee. And so the gist from what I've seen on social media and from what I've read is that anytime that somebody would get suspicious, I mean, including her own family, anytime somebody would get too suspicious, medical professionals, family, didn't matter, she would move, either move um, providers of care, medical providers, or she would physically move. And of course, she benefited from keeping her daughter ill. There are many charities that she benefited from, such as Habitat for Humanity, I think it is. I forget what that other charity is that they sent them to, like, Disneyland or Disney World. I don't know. But other charities along those lines where they received a lot of things because of Gypsy Rose's alleged conditions. So again, she had multiple procedures done, even a feeding tube at one point in her stomach. And so doctors, experts, psychologists believe that Dee Dee suffered from, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which essentially means that you are fabricating illnesses or you know, health ailments, basically to receive attention and sympathy from others. So it worked to her benefit in her mind to keep her daughter ill because she received sympathy, um, praise, attention, and all that stuff. So interestingly enough, her own family thinks that Dee Dee killed her own stepmother or mother, one of the two, whoever was the, I guess, primary caretaker for her when she was growing up, because I think that I also, along the same lines, heard something. Okay, it was on a TikTok, right? Because that's how we receive our news nowadays. But there was a TikTok that had her family present sitting for an interview saying that they think that Dee Dee Blanchard, her stepmother, because her stepmother or mother did the same thing to Dee Dee. So essentially kind of kept her ill to for her own reasons. I don't know, if it was also Munchausen syndrome by proxy. So that's pretty much the gist of what I know. So let me start by looking at this picture here. This one looks, so I'm going to move it and I'm going to move it in front of my face here. And I'm just going to tune into her energy. And this one, she obviously looks young compared to this one. So I did that for a reason. I wanted to kind of see how her energy changes, if at all, and if it does at all. So let's see. I don't know why, but the first thing that I'm feeling is that there was a lot of fear. Yes, there was the mental illness that was diagnosed. But what I'm sensing is the fear of being caught, the fear of basically this facade coming to light, because I feel that it was fear of being caught for fear of going to jail. I feel like outwardly she's very nice, charismatic, compassionate. She seemed very sweet. She seemed very nurturing to others, around her that didn't know her behind closed doors. I also get the feeling that I don't know why it's coming this way, so I apologize, but it's almost like there's a bit of depression that I'm picking up on, and the inability to kind of want to do better for herself. So instead of, let's say, for example, she's depressed and she's looking at her finances, for example, and she's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know how we're going to get ahead. instead of trying to fix that for herself and maybe getting a job, she wanted to take basically the lazy way out and not do anything and just have things done for her to resolve themselves via her daughter. So it's almost like this laziness of, I want to be better or I want to be in a better position, but I don't want to go out and have to work for it. So I'm just going to, continue to receive benefits, monetary benefits, so that I don't have to do much work. Next picture. Let me put these here. So this one, she's a little older and she doesn't have Gypsy, as you can see. She doesn't have Gypsy Rose with her. And here I feel like it's almost like I'm tired of this facade, of this mask that I'm wearing. Because Gypsy Rose may have been receiving a lot of attention and even having to go to all her medical visits and all that stuff. It's almost like I'm tired of pretending I'm this happy, bubbly person. Like I just want to be at home. It's almost like she doesn't want to do it anymore. Not because she feels necessarily bad, but just because she doesn't want to, she just doesn't want to have to play nice when she's, out and about. One of the things I do want to mention is there's this book called Soul Speak. And so I've taken courses on QHHT, which is a form of hypnotherapy, regressive hypnotherapy. And the founder, Dolores Cannon, also taught her methods to her daughter, Julia Cannon. And Julia wrote a book, or basically gathered all the information for the book through her own sessions. And really the book is about, or the book is what your body is trying to tell you. So it lists a lot of different ailments, a lot of different things that one might experience, and basically the causes of them, or what your body is really trying to tell you, what lessons are there in those ailments, illnesses, so that you can basically learn from and basically get rid of them. So one of the things, which obviously hits home because I've, been overweight my whole life, but I noticed that Dee Dee is progressively, gaining weight, a little bit bigger in each picture that I have. And so the thing that Soul Speak says about it being overweight or being obese is that you want love, but you're afraid to basically open yourself up to it, to receiving it. So you put on weight to try to appear basically to try to keep anybody that might be interested away. Hopefully this weight will cause them to just go away and not bother me, which is crazy because the thing that we're wanting, right, as humans is love and connection. But if you're overweight, obese, you're trying to push that away. You want it, but you're trying to push it away by becoming unattractive so that you're left alone. So I pick up on that with her not wanting, it's like closing herself off, not wanting to receive that love from basically a partner. I don't know if there's any abuse with a partner per se, or if it was just true that she was basically the same thing that happened to Gypsy happened to Dee Dee, where her mother or stepmother had all these illnesses, quote unquote. So I don't know if that's true or not, but there's something happened to make her not want, subconsciously, not want to receive the love or open herself up to love. So I feel that. It's an excellent book for anybody, so I recommend it. Yeah, and so I feel that just this facade of being nice and being friendly and like she likes the attention because she receives benefits, right? But I think that it got to a point where maybe it was too much. And so that's, I think, what I'm picking up on is like, all right, I don't want to, maybe maybe it was more widespread than she thought at first, is what I'm trying to say. Because again, there's just this point of, it's too much. I don't even want to be here. I just want to be at home, relaxing, doing what I have to do. That's it for that one. And this last one here, the eyes are much different than her previous pictures. Like so much so that I can't even read into them. Yeah, I can't pick anything up, which is interesting. I thought that, I'm surprised because I thought that obviously if you're subjecting your daughter to this life, I didn't expect to pick up on her, I guess, just being over it, not wanting to continue or not wanting to be out in public that much. I thought that she would have like loved that. But I don't know. It's in that last picture, that's what I picked up. And then in this picture, honestly, I can't feel anything, which I think is a first for me. I think what just came to me, and not from this picture, but just her energy, is that, when you're afraid to love or receive love, you're afraid of being hurt. You're afraid of maybe losing that love. So I feel like because of her fears, maybe due to her past traumas, Dee Dee needed to place herself as in control of the relationship between her and her daughter. She needed to be in control, and she needed her daughter to depend on her. That way she would never lose that child's love. That way she would set herself up to always be needed in this dynamic, which is what a lot of people who are afraid of love and opening themselves up do. They try to take control. They try to emotionally manipulate so that they basically they don't get hurt. So that's what I'm picking up on. Let me then see. Interesting. Just see if it's in. Okay, Dee Dee, what do you want to communicate? Again, I feel the rigidity, like I need to be in control. I feel like this is Dee Dee with this Emperor card here. This is Dee Dee and her rigidity, her my way or the highway. This is because I need to set myself up to basically not lose this love from my daughter. Three of Pentacles, learning. The Nine of Pentacles, patience. The Three of Cups, joy, celebration. I almost feel like Dee Dee's saying, I needed to learn to have patience and how to be happy, how to be joyful, how to properly receive, you know, love and affection from others, how to have some sort of community that I can go to, not really depend on, but that I can go to, some sort of sisterhood or some sort of support group, support system. Those are things that she needed to learn, is what I feel like she's saying. The High Priestess and the Six of Swords here. Let me push these up. I feel like Dee Dee's saying I ran away from any sort of religious or any sort of religious ideologies, theologies, like basically if it was involving church or something, like she just didn't allow herself to open up to that. She's like running away from it. Any sort of higher beliefs, higher powers, anything like that, she didn't allow herself to go there. And so without that belief system, her faith, like there is no faith is what I'm saying. And because of that, she felt it's almost like I feel I'm alone trying to figure out the world with nobody to have my back. I don't know if this death card is, I'm going to pull out one more card, but I don't know if this death card here is like the people that I think would have had my back are dead, or maybe she had grandparents or something like that that she kind of preferred to be around, that felt she had support from, that were no longer there, that's why she feels that. Let me pull out one more card. Interesting. Yeah, I just feel like she distanced herself from any sort of religious anything. So because she felt like that, it's like I'm stuck. I don't know the way forward. I'm not moving in the direction that I want to go in. With this Five of Wands, I almost feel like that's internal conflict, but that's also as she became more set in her beliefs, things aren't working out for me. I'm alone. I'm not moving. I'm not in the place where I want to be at. That caused her to be, again, it caused her to have internal strife, but also with those closest to her. So I would assume her daughter. So maybe when Gypsy started to grow up, Dee Dee became more, maybe not so much abusive or violent, although that is definitely, I feel that, but just more picking fights, wanting to argue, wanting to be a little bit more combative. Was she abusive? I think so. Abusive, I mean, like, obviously there's abuse here, but I mean like physical. Which I would assume most people in this situation would kind of think like, if I'm bringing her around medical professionals all the time, it just wouldn't make sense to be physically abusive in case, they find bruises and stuff. But I still do feel like I pick up on physical abuse. So that's interesting too. Okay. So King of Wands reverse. And then dissatisfaction here. I'm not where I want to be, so I'm unhappy. I don't know if this is like a love lost from a person that she was romantically connected to. It kind of feels like that. And then this dissatisfaction is from this relationship or this person that she, it wasn't reciprocated the love or something along those lines, but it's also dissatisfaction in life in general. I feel like this is Gypsy Rose's father. I feel like it, I don't know if he broke it up with Dee Dee, but it seems like with her fears and everything, and the fact that maybe she was in love with Gypsy's father, and it seems like he broke it off. Um, she felt very alone, and she felt like I feel like this is where I feel the spark, the idea of basically to do what she did to her daughter. Because it's like, okay, I have to do this world I have to do this world alone. And it's like this idea, this spark. Okay, her fears were so strong that I feel like she wasn't even aware at the time that that's where it came from. This fear of opening herself up to love, receiving the love, not feeling like she can get through this breakup here with Gypsy Rose's father. It's almost like she said to herself, like, no more, never again. I'm never going to be hurt like this again. And it seems that that's where all this came from. Even, I don't even think this was clear to her at that point. The back and forth. What was she back and forth on? And then just being super defensive and kind of it's me against the world sort of mentality. I think she felt like there would be like a reconciliation with Gypsy Rose's father. And then there's this internal kind of battle that I'm feeling like I can do this on my own, especially with a daughter, versus hell no, I can't. I hate everybody. I'm fine. It's like this battle, this back and forth, almost like a bipolar sort of situation. Was she bipolar? I don't feel like she wanted the child. That's sad. But the Queen of Wands is just that, I don't know, this idea that just came through and kind of, it's funny because I was feeling earlier, like I said, that, you know, people who are scared to receive love and basically afraid to be vulnerable because they're afraid of losing that love try to either be needed or set themselves up in that other person's life to where they're in control emotionally by basically manipulating. So it's funny, not funny, but it's funny that I would pick that up, but then in the same token, I feel here like this isn't what I want. This is not what I want. This pregnancy is not what I want. I want to rid myself of it. I don't want it. Especially if she thought that she would have to go through it alone, which I don't know if Gypsy Rose's father was just adamant from the beginning saying he didn't want to be a part of Gypsy Rose's life, or if Dee Dee pushed him away and was like, no, I don't want you anywhere around her. We're good. So it's interesting, but I can definitely feel here she did not want this baby. It wasn't planned. It wasn't a planned pregnancy. Let me see what else. Let me just pull out one more row. Karma. So I wonder if Gypsy Rose and Dee Dee had some sort of karmic contract to where maybe the roles were reversed and so that needed to play out in this lifetime. Or if that's just what needs or what will be happening next lifetime together. I don't know. But this tells me the pregnancy, that situation, it wasn't planned. So here she is picking up the burdens alone, burden of maybe not the pregnancy, I feel maybe just the actual just motherhood, just having a child, doing it by yourself. I feel that here. I feel like there's sadness, there's almost resentment because Dee Dee feels like I didn't even have a childhood. I didn't even have a childhood and here you are. It's almost like, yeah, like that resentment, like, oh, here you are, you're gonna get all this, you're gonna get the childhood that I never got to experience. Like, who the hell are you? And just not being able to see the situation from any other point of view than she had. So she didn't, basically, if she knew that it was, if she was emotionally intelligent enough to know that maybe these feelings, how she was feeling towards her daughter, weren't supposed to be happening, normal to feel, by not going and getting, any help or anything like that, not having a sisterhood or not having any community where she can go to for support. This here tells me she was not able to see the entirety of the situation. She was not able to see maybe the extent, the gravitude, the gravity of her, mentality and her tactics. And it's funny that the devil's here reversed. Usually the devil is I would that card was expected, but in the normal upright position. Or maybe it's just this is just saying, this will be resolved karmically, contractually between those two. Or maybe, oh, it's that she paid off debts spiritually. It was supposed to happen how it did. Again, the breaking up of the relationship, lots of pain with Gypsy Rose's father, carrying the burden by herself, not having the happy childhood, feeling like that she feels like she deserved. So just being upset, angry at Gypsy Rose. Okay. And Dee Dee, I just want to ask you, come through and let me know how you're doing now. Where where are you energetically now? Where are you energetically now? What's going on now? Where are you now? If there's anything that you can say, you can let us know. Interesting. Okay. Dee Dee, where are you now energetically? What do you have to say? Sorry, just checking, making sure y'all can see. I feel like she's saying it. I'm at the place now where I can see that how I acted, how it all went, how I carried through my actions. It wasn't what I wanted to happen. There were a lot of lessons learned. It wasn't how I wanted to be. I allowed my fears, I allowed the negativity inside me to basically win the battle. I realized that it caused me to have a lot of enemies, a lot of people that didn't like me for my actions, for what I did. There's, I feel like there's been a long period of healing all of that emotional turmoil. Up in spirit, in the spiritual realm. And so I feel like she's saying that's what I've been doing, is just healing. I feel Dee Dee saying, I'm still with her. I'm still with Gypsy. I'm still around her, helping her in spirit. Let her know that I'm fine. Let her know that I forgive her. If ever she needs to speak to me, I'm there. What else, Dee Dee? Interesting that I shuffled and some of the same cards are still coming out. Yeah, I've overcome a lot of that emotional turmoil that was going on within me. I've just been focused on energetically rebuilding myself, healing, getting myself to a point where I'm not in that low place. And basically now it's like I'm assisting where I'm needed in the spiritual realm. And again, I'm getting that very loud and clear. I needed to pay that debt. I needed to pay that. My spirit needed to go through that to learn the lessons that I've learned. Any final words, Dee Dee? Interesting. Just so interesting that I shuffled. Y'all saw me. Did you see me shuffle? And these cards are still coming out. Any final words? I feel like for some reason I want to say, let love flow. That is what she's saying. Let love flow. I didn't do it. And that would be my advice to all of you, is let love flow. Don't restrict it. Don't stop it. Don't be afraid of it. I was focused on running away from it, is what she's saying. And that kept me stuck in unhealthy patterns. And it basically doesn't end well when you're on earth. It doesn't end well. Not that you're going to get murdered if you decide to live like that or do that. It's just, it doesn't end well for your spirit. It doesn't feel good because it's not essentially who you are. So don't fear, I feel is what she's saying. Don't fear. Let love in, balance, because your fears basically hold you back and don't allow you to see where you need to go or grow, where you need to be planted or rooted or yeah, I think that's all I have. This is a long one, so hope that you enjoyed that. If you have any suggestions, any love, please leave that in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.